For 700 years, my people have been enslaved without voice, without hope. Now I am their sword. And I do not forgive. I do not forget.
In the world of Red Rising, you are born with a singular purpose. Do your duty to uphold the society. But what happens when the society crushes you and all you love? You rise up! I believe fiction is integral to growing and improving as a person, inspiration, empathy, and a world outside our own to get lost in. The lessons of literature are innumerable, and all I want to do is share the stories that have turned me into the man I am today. This video will contain no spoilers, but just some world building details and what you would find on the back of the book description. Without further ado, allow me to introduce Red Rising. In the year 736 post-conquering era, the Red Miners of Mars are told they have the most important job in the entire solar system, the harvesting of helium to support a society striving to expand across the solar system. The surface of Mars is currently inhospitable, with terraforming projects that are still centuries away from completion, leaving them to live underground for generations, and all is overseen by the objectively superior ruling class, the Golds. The society is a social and biological structure humanity has adopted, or should I say has been conquered into. Red at the bottom, and then everything else holding gold at the top. Over 700 years ago, humans colonized Luna, or as we know it, the moon, developing their own society and eventually declaring independence of Earth. In this society, humans were genetically engineered to be stronger, faster, smarter, live longer, and fight harder. Because of the harsh environments they had to work with on Luna, other classes were genetically engineered for specific tasks to achieve the unity and cohesiveness that Earth could never manage. In the year 0 post-conquering era, the first Iron Rain fell upon Earth. Those who fell from Luna became known as the first Iron Golds, the ideal of what gold should be, a shepherd to humanity. With the conclusion of the bloodiest conflict in human history, Luna reigned supreme, and in the coming century, extreme protocols were enacted, harvesting as many fit survivors as they could from Earth before sterilizing the planet's entire population. These refugees became the first Reds sent to Mars to mine helium. For the next 700 years, these Reds labored, generation in, generation out, in the most dangerous job the solar system had to offer. They were told they were doing a great duty to society, crafting the future of humanity, one helium deposit at a time. It was all a lie. The terraforming of Mars had been completed 600 years previously, and the society now spanned all the way from Mercury to Pluto.
How does an empire die? Does it collapse in one terrible moment? No. No. But there comes a time when its people no longer believe in it. Then does an empire begin to die.
The Reds who so valiantly mine and die early are simply slaves to society that sees fit to use them. Darrow, the best helldiver Lycos has ever seen, is just the latest Red to get crushed under the boot of the society. But what can be broken can be remade, better, stronger, and filled with the desire to reap revenge. Darrow's journey is one of rebirth, hard truths, and repercussions. In the beginning, he is fueled by his hate and his desire for revenge. With enough rage to burn planets and plenty of enemies to direct it at, he leaves a blood-soaked trail. But along the way, he finds friends among those he's supposed to hate. He becomes more than just a tool of destruction, and he discovers the unconquerable human spirit that is within all of us. Red Rising pulls no punches. The philosophies, parallels, and characters of ancient Rome are supplanted into our solar system and thoroughly fleshed out to an uncomfortable degree that makes you think about your own moral ideology. The world is awe-inspiringly massive and intricate in its approach to its culture and history. Equal parts brutal and beautiful, Red Rising is my favorite sci-fi series of all time. But what parallels does it have to our own lives, and what can we learn from it?
Soon, we will teach you why gold rules mankind. And I promise, of those among you Only those fit for power will survive. But I am no gold. I am a red. He thinks men like me weak. He thinks me dumb, feeble, subhuman. I was not raised in palaces. I did not ride horses through meadows and eat meals of hummingbird tongues. I was forged in the bowels of this hard world, sharpened by hate, strengthened by love.
As always, the heart of a story lies with its characters, and Pierce Brown leaves no stone unturned when exploring the psychological depths of our future descendants. Darrow Olikos is the main character in the series and resonates deeply with me as we traverse similar times in our lives. Thrust into harsh reality, Darrow has two choices: accept his death and let all of his suffering end, or fight tooth and nail through more pain and sacrifice. To start off the series, he is thoroughly outclassed by his opposition in every possible way, except that they have forgotten what it means to fight for something greater than themselves. Break the chains is the chant of those Darrow is fighting for. The first 3 books of Red Rising at its core is about living for more, but to live for more, our characters have to fight against what they cannot control. They will scrape and claw at the indomitable will of gold with the simple goal of wrestling back control of their own lives, the freedom to choose who they are. Red Rising is a blood-soaked tale packed to the brim with war and the sorrow that comes with fighting oppression. But through it all, our characters must never forget what they're fighting for: family, friends, loyalty, and love. This is the power that Darrow has over his enemy. Bonds will be broken and mistakes will be made, but he must never turn his back on what makes him strong. Pierce Brown described the struggle of Red Rising as, whatever you're told, being an adult doesn't mean you have control. No matter the power you have, the money you make, the age you become, we all feel a little bit at the mercy of something else. The government, banks, chance, illness, our bosses. That's what Darrow is dealing with in Red Rising. The fact that any control he thinks he has over his own life is a mirage, but he does not despair. Instead, he decides to break the chains and live for more. He sets out to create his own future. The fact is, we don't have complete control over our lives. Never have, never will. That's okay. The point is rather to take control over the parts of our life that we can, and live those parts in precisely the way we want. That is living for more, and that is what Darrow is fighting for. In my own life, I feel the shackle of society. Even though I'm not subjugated to the minds of Mars, sometimes it feels like my life is not entirely mine to live. From a young age, we are told no you can't, or that's not possible. Doubts are placed in our heads, invisible chains that bind us down without us even realizing it. Like Darrow, we must break the chains and free our potential to do whatever we want. You and I are capable of so much more. We can pursue our dreams and source of happiness. Free your mind of the barriers our society has placed there. Our oppression may not be physical like Darrow's, but it is still there. Our cast of golds are just those who are profiting and thriving off of our current unhappiness in life and the lack of understanding that we can change it. Rise up. Choose to train your body to physical prowess, sharpen your mind with knowledge, and chase what you've always been told is impossible. I hate being told I cannot do something. Who are you to tell me what I can and cannot do? The only limits I have are the ones I set on myself.
In the cold prison of our minds, we are alone with our self-hatred, our doubts and guilt. A friend may reach through the bars and hold our hand, but they cannot open the door for us. Only the prisoner has the key.
In the second act of the series, we follow the repercussion of our cast's actions and what it means to not give up on the challenges you accepted. Many times our journey seems simple at first, reaching the peak of the mountain. It will be difficult, it will seem impossible at times, but you know where you're going. But upon that peak, we find that there are even taller mountains to climb behind it. This is the struggle our characters find themselves in during the events of the last 4 books. Will they break down because their dream is too big, or will they stand up once more against fear and uncertainty?
Can a beautiful, fragile idea survive all the maelstrom in between? You know, it's like, is it worth it? honestly, in the end, the series is about one thematic question: is do you submit to fear? And that's what Dark Age is about. That's what, Iron Gold's about. It's kind of like, will you submit to fear and inconvenience? Is it worth it for all the sacrifice required?
Although Darrow's fight is for freedom in all its aspects, there is so much more that accompanies that. Friendship and the value of it remains another core pillar of this series. Those who stand with you because of who you are, versus those who are only with you for what you do. The author Pierce Brown contrasts love, trust, and duty against each other in an ever-evolving way. Just like in our own lives, we have those who will fight through hell and back for us, and those who would leave us to burn in the right circumstances. The bonds that Darrow forms, for better or for worse, with Severo the Goblin, Cassius the archetypical man of the society, Virginia, daughter of the ruler of Mars, Ragnar the blood-stained obsidian, and many more shape him and them. The cast of characters is just as deep and complex as real Roman and Greek history. Darrow is not a singular force throughout the series. The friends he makes influence him and contrast him. A cruel world forces them to make decisions that set them against each other. Sometimes they emerge stronger for it, other times irreparably broken. What I love most about the other characters is the autonomy that they have. Rarely, if ever, do they do something simply because the story calls for it. Each has their own reasons. Their motives are clear, whether it be love, hate, or duty. We are shaped by the environments and who we associate with. Red Rising exemplifies the importance of the bonds you make, both with who they're with and who they make you. Darrow is far from righteous and noble. His hatred drives him to ruthlessness and rash decisions that would horrify those who would call him a friend. He makes mistakes. He loses his way. But are we so different? We cannot skip over the trials that make us who we are. Darrow is born in rage and fury, but throughout the series he has to evolve, become better in the ways that his previous self would have never considered. The series begins with death and rebirth, but it is not the last time. We live one life broken up into many chapters. To live is to grow, and to grow is to be free. Through Darrow, you can learn not to betray your nature, to resist negative influences and stand true to who you are. Mistakes will be made. Decisions of dire consequences that can never be taken back will happen. But will you learn or will you wither? First, we break the chains that others have put on us. Then we break the chains we placed on ourselves.
I will die. You will die. We will all die, and the universe will carry on without care. All that we have is that shout into the wind. How we live, how we go, and how we stand before we fall.
If you lack motivation in your life, look no farther. The speeches, actions, and character journeys of Red Rising are unmatched in terms of inspiration. Random lines light fire in your belly, and moments set up through hundreds of pages make you feel like an iron gold yourself. Within the pages, Darrow uses his rage as a tool of motivation and inspiration. Like him, you can channel your frustration towards betterment. Some of my most successful and productive moments are when I've just had enough. This is my third time recording this video. I was disappointed in the lack of passion I had the first 2 times, but then I came back from the gym and I reminded myself that I can do this. Nobody can tell me that I can't, first and foremost among them, myself. I channeled that rage into the passion that this video needed. One of my favorite aspects of literature is the simplicity of seeing a character go through hell and come out stronger on the other side. If he can do it, so can I. Although present in pretty much any book, there is something special in the way that Pierce Brown writes Darrow that seems to bring your dreams that much closer. When chasing those dreams, nothing ever goes to plan. Make one, try to stick to it, and throw it away when the unexpected blows up in your face. You must learn how to shift your paradigm. This is something you will hear Darrow say a lot throughout the series. Just as our characters plot and scheme, their enemies do the same. Life is not about what you deserve, it is about what you earn, and the circumstances are rarely ever in your favor. Changing your viewpoint past what is to what might be and anticipating the worst to come can prepare you for when the shitstorm starts. In Red Rising, everybody is extremely capable, leaving Darrow with a moral code and people to protect, but a need to outmaneuver those who have neither.
The dread monster rises in the belly of me. Laughter spews from between my teeth. I would die for the truth that all men are created equal. But in the kingdom of death, amidst ramparts of bodies and wind all of screams, there is a king, and his name is not Loon. It is Reaper.
The first act of Red Rising consists of a trilogy, while the second currently has 3 books with a 4th and final installment on the way. The first 3 act as a standalone story, with the second arc being a continuation of that. Lightbringer, the book that just came out, inspired me to make this video. Red Rising is an ever-evolving series, just like us. The repercussions of the first 3 books echo throughout the last 4. Each book is unique and better than the last in one way or another. My personal ranking would be Golden Sun and Dark Age at the top, followed by Morning Star, Lightbringer, and Iron Gold in the middle, and at the bottom we have Red Rising, the namesake of the series and the very first book. But that should tell you something, that the books only get better. There is such a significant jump up in quality between Red Rising and the second book, Golden Sun, you won't even believe what you are reading. Trust me when I say, read these first 2 books. Red Rising is a fun experience, but Golden Sun will blow your mind. I personally love the audiobooks narrated by Tim Gerard Reynolds. He truly brings the characters to life and moves you with his performance. The physicality of the series appeals to the side of me who loves to train and push my body to its limits, especially Darrow's training throughout the series. It appeals to the side of me who wants to charge into battle, wielding a sword and dying for a cause. The pure testosterone-filled action of the series will ignite a fire within any reader, but the most impactful moments lie within a speech or a conversation between 2 characters. The speeches in Red Rising make you feel like this is your fight, that it's your freedom on the line. The world itself might be the most interesting character in the entire series. Roman and Greek society transposed and amplified across our solar system with no lack of respect to their mythologies. The depth of each world and the unique feel that each planet is given makes you feel like you could spend the entire series there. Each moon of Jupiter, the highlands of Mars, to the asteroids of the unknown, every place feels alive and purposeful. I became fascinated with the way that war was waged in this universe. Things like Iron Reigns, Drachenjäger, and the use of different colored troops like tools in a toolbox. Each book introduces more and more into the world, creating one of my favorite immersive universes ever. From the dockyards of Ganymede to the storm gods of Mercury, Red Rising stuns you with breathtaking scale and amazes you with what humanity is capable of. Even in the bones of the story, we see our main themes, taking over control of what we can and fighting against the fear of the unknown. Red Rising will always hold a special place in my heart, a series that combines my love of history, physical brutality, and the incomparable human spirit wrapped in a space opera is something that is wholly unique. I hope that some of you will give Red Rising and reading fiction as a form of self-improvement in general a chance. Trust me when I say you can't get what you get from stories anywhere else. Thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe, and remember, Hail Reaper, Hail Libertas!